What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn. Get this. Eddie Hearn responds to Oscar Delahoya's criticism of Canelo Alvarez. He quotes, "He put Canelo in with Mayweather." Eddie Hearn was simply amused by the slew of critical comments fellow rival promoter Oscar Delahoya recently made about him. Delahoya, the founder of Golden Boy Promotions, recently took aim at Hearn, and he said this. He said the Russian titleist had no business fighting Canelo Alvarez, or should I say Canelo Alvarez had no business fighting him. Delahoya's longtime promoter said. He said that Canelo has a promoter, Hearn, now that obviously doesn't come from a boxing world. He doesn't really know the fight game. He got Canelo beat. It was the wrong style. Hearn in turn thinks that Delahoya is in no position to be pointing fingers on Delahoya's logic. Hearn contended that the former welterweight star was responsible for Alvarez's first career loss at the hands of Floyd Mayweather. Alvarez was 23 when he fought Mayweather, who was 36, in what became one of the top pay-per-view draws at the time. Mayweather soundly defeated Alvarez, becoming the Mexican superstar over 12 rounds in their 154-pound title bout, and he reflected the name Money Mayweather. He said, "It's nice him putting my name in his mouth. That's nice," Hearn said Delahoya in an interview with Boxing Social. "I mean, he's just moaning that I got Canelo beat. Canelo makes his own decisions. He put Canelo Alvarez in with Floyd Mayweather when he was about 12. Note, Canelo Alvarez was 23. Hearn believes Delahoya is simply bitter because he no longer promotes Canelo. And he said, "At the end of the day, we have to make the great fights." Hearn said the fighters are chasing after legacy. What they are basically saying is that Eddie should have gotten him in with an easy fight. Canelo doesn't need an easy fight. That's why fans love him. I'm not interested in making easy fights. Canelo is the boss." Let me counterpunch. I think Eddie is right to a certain degree. I disagree with him with this. I don't think that these fighters are looking for legacy. I don't think that. I think certain fighters are. Canelo is or was. But other than that, I don't see any of these fighters doing that. And based on Delahoya, Delahoya is telling on himself more and more. He's telling us that he did protect Canelo. He's telling us that he did put Canelo in with fights that he thought that he was going to win. I think the Mayweather loss woke Oscar up, and I think because of that, he layered an extra layer of protection for Canelo. Even though Canelo wanted to certain fights, Oscar De La Hoya made sure that he held his hand every step of the way. And for him saying that, hey, you know, you got him beat and this, that, and the other, that means Oscar De La Hoya would have stepped in. Even when Canelo wanted to fight, Oscar would have opted not to fight him. Okay, and the question you ask yourself, like, what type of relationship did they really have? Was it a father and son? Was it a big brother, little brother type relationship? Because Oscar De La Hoya, you know, he promoted Canelo Alvarez like he was some type of relative or something. You know what I mean? Like he was just, you know, like very cautious. He didn't want him to fight Lara. He wasn't even there that night for Mayweather. So he wasn't even there when he endured his first loss. But at the end of the day, Oscar De La Hoya, he did put Canelo Alvarez in with Floyd, but Floyd was 36. And if Canelo Alvarez was going to be anything, he would have beat Floyd, but it didn't work that way. Okay, the younger guy like that, younger, fresher, undefeated guy, supposed to beat Floyd, but he didn't. Floyd was just that great. And that didn't happen. And in the terms of matchmaking, I get the logic of Eddie saying, well, hey, well, you put him in there with Floyd, but he's supposed to fight Floyd because he was the same size as Floyd. You know, Canelo Alvarez fighting certain styles, if you want to talk about styles or size, It was the style that bothered Canelo. You got in there with a boxer puncher that used total disciplined boxing fundamentals, right? And I think at the end of the day, Oscar De La Hoya pretty much did the same thing that Eddie did. Canelo wanted that fight. Oscar De La Hoya wanted to avenge his loss to Floyd by his new redhead champion, right? Okay, that's why he did it. Okay, so that's De La Hoya. De La Hoya's been bitter about the loss to Floyd Mayweather for a very long time. That's why he threw him in there. So he was more like a revenge tool more than anything else. So, you know, I just think he just wasn't ready for him to be beaten. But they're both right. These fighters, they make their own decision, and if they don't, they're supposed to. So if anything, Eddie Hearn is doing what's supposed to happen. He's making the fights that the fighters actually want, that he promotes. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about the back and forth between Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching. Peace.